Hello everyone, this is Chidanand from Infotech NG and welcome to this tutorial on Kubernetes monitoring. For those watching from Bangalore and Karnataka, warm wishes to you on the account of Karnataka Rajyotsava. In this tutorial, what I plan to do is quickly put up a demo to monitor my Kubernetes cluster using Prometheus and Grafana. My local Kubernetes cluster will be running on a MiniCube, which is nothing but a single node cluster, and I'll be using a tool called Prometheus for scraping time series data and plug it with a dashboard which it will run using Grafana. Well, there are a bunch of other popular tools available in the market. Prometheus and Grafana have become a de facto standard, at least in the last few years, for gathering metrics around your Docker and Kubernetes clusters. The reason being that these two work well together and they're pretty easy to configure. While the monitoring system consists of two parts, Prometheus is the data collector part of it. So it's nothing but an open source monitoring and alerting toolkit. It has also got alerting mechanism. So all that it does is it scrapes any server or any virtual machine on which it is running and tries to collect all kinds of data, a time series kind of data, which can be later gathered by an HTTP pool. It's also got some dashboards and graphs that it can support, but whatever is present in that is not so good enough, in which case it works very well with other plug and play kind of stuff where Grafana is pretty good at. So Grafana is nothing but a visualization tool for picking up the data that is gathered by Prometheus and putting up a nice display of that in a beautiful map. So it's got some ready-made dashboards which will pretty much give you all kinds of analytics that you would expect from your running cluster. Coming to what exactly I plan to set up in my demo, I would be installing, or rather I would be deploying a Prometheus to my Kubernetes cluster. I would have my Kubernetes cluster which is running on MiniCube, which is nothing but a single node cluster, but the steps are pretty much the same which you would need to perform even if at all you're deploying it to a proper Kubernetes cluster. So I'll go ahead and deploy my Prometheus as a Helm chart. Helm charts are nothing but one way of bundling and packaging your application. So Prometheus is available as a Helm chart. So I'm going to deploy my Helm chart onto my Kubernetes or my MiniCube cluster. So Kubernetes cluster would internally have something called a C advisors, which would be running on each node. And this is responsible for gathering various metrics regarding the nodes and kind of talking to Prometheus and passing it on to Prometheus. So once I have my Prometheus Helm chart that is installed, it pretty much starts gathering data. And later, I will plug that into a Grafana, which is again a dashboard, which I will again deploy using Helm charts. And I will pick up an existing dashboard and then show you how easy is it to show the data that is collected from Prometheus to convert the data that is collected from Prometheus to a beautiful dashboard, which pretty much gives me all sort of analytics that I would need for my running cluster. For my demo, I have a virtual machine that I brought up on my Google Cloud, and this is the IP address, publicly available IP address of my server, and this server is running Ubuntu 18.04, and I have a specific version of Kubernetes, which is nothing but MiniCube that I've installed on my system. So I've already logged into my box, and now let me check lsp underscore release. So this is the Ubuntu version which is running. It's got Docker on it, and then it has also got MiniCube on it. Let me start the MiniCube and I'll show you what is the version of MiniCube I'm trying to run. So I'm trying to run v1.17. Not that there's any other specific reason other than this is one of the versions that I'm comfortable with. So I'm running version v1.17 on this MiniCube and the MiniCube is running natively on this Linux box. Alright, it takes a while for my MiniCube to come up. So let me just try this sudo change ownership from recursive. Alright, that is server home dot cube. Alright, so I have my MiniCube that is running. So let me check my MiniCube version. This is my MiniCube version, and then kubectl version. Alright, so I have both the client of my kubectl and the server, both are running version 1.17. Yes, k is equal to kubectl, that will be easy for me. Right, k get nodes. There's only one node, which is in the MiniCube. So, great. Now, I have documented all the steps that I'm going to follow in this GitHub repository, which I'll be sharing later on. So first and foremost, I need to install Helm. Helm is nothing but a package manager, and this is the step to install Helm. And I already have Helm installed. Helm version. Alright, I have this version of Helm that is already installed. Alright, now let me go ahead and get started on bringing up my Prometheus and Grafana. So as I said, you have there are various ways of installing Prometheus. There's a native way of installing Prometheus, but since we want to monitor it for our Kubernetes cluster, we'll do it the Kubernetes way, where we'll go ahead and install, or rather deploy Prometheus as a particular Helm chart, which internally brings up few pods and services and probably a deployment for my Prometheus. So I am going to add a repository called Prometheus community, and this is the URL of that particular repository. So Helm repo add. I'm going to add, this is just the name, and the actual URL of the repository is prometheus-community.github.io, and okay, it's already there. So that is the reason why you see this. Alright, now let me just check what are all the charts that is available in this repository. So Helm search repo Prometheus. Alright, so there's a bunch of charts that is available for me, and what's important is to identify which version of Prometheus that you would need, and which specific stack of Prometheus that you need, because there are different stacks and adapters and stuff like that. But what we need is something like this. It's called Prometheus-community/Prometheus. Let me go ahead and try to install that version of Prometheus chart. So the command to install the Prometheus version that I need is helm install Prometheus, and this is just a name that I'm going to specify for my installation, and the one that I want to install is Prometheus-community/Prometheus. So let me just go ahead and install this helm chart. Alright, so in no time you have this helm chart installed. What has actually happened is it's got all the config maps, services and pods and stuff like that required. So let me wait for some time and specify pods and SVC and see if all these are up and running. So you'd see that there would be some more things that is not up and running. It's waiting. If you see Prometheus Server is up and running, gateway is not yet running. So let me give it a few more seconds. Alright, now yes, everything looks to be running. There is also a Prometheus server that is created, and by default, since I did not specify any specific type of service, it will go ahead and give me something called as cluster IP. Now, cluster IP is not something that is very useful for us, because I have a public IP address on which this particular stuff is running, and the cluster IP is only visible within the cluster. So if I have to look at it from the perspective of opening a browser and stuff like that, I would probably need a different or a node port kind of an IP. So what I do is I will expose this Prometheus -server. There must also be a deployment. So we just check that get deploy. Alright, there is something called as Prometheus Server as well, which gets deployed. All these are part of my Helm chart installation. So Prometheus is already up and running. It's running whatever is required for Prometheus to run from the perspective of pods, replica sets, service as well. Everything is created for me. So the only thing that I want to do now is expose this deployment as a type node port. And I want to specify some target port. It doesn't really matter what target port this is, because I would just need the actual node port IP, node port that it kind of gives me the server. After that, I can look at it and open it up in a browser and check what's happening. So kubectl expose service. Alright, so you have the Prometheus Server SVC. This is the name of a new service that I have exposed. So alright, try this MiniCube service. Oops. Sudo change on. I thought I did that. Sudo, let me try this. Okay. Let me try doing this again. Alright, so this is my Prometheus Server SVC. It's nothing but my node port service that I opened up, and this is this is the URL. What I'm more interested in is that since I asked for a node port 30895, this is the port on which the Prometheus server is exposed to the outside world. So what I'll do is I'll open up my browser, and let me copy. This is the IP address of my machine. This is the IP address of my machine. I will 30895. Alright, now I have my Prometheus server up and running, and it started collecting some metrics, which probably may not make much sense for me straight away, unless and until I import this into a nice dashboard and see what is that I'm getting. Now, in the similar way that I was able to install the Helm chart for Prometheus, let me go ahead and deploy or install the Helm chart for Grafana. Now, each of these tools have got the charts which are put out in different places. You have to just Google search on the official pages, and then you'll be able to find out what is the official chart. So for now, this is what is the place where we can find the official chart for Grafana. So let me go ahead and add that. Right, Grafana already exists. Good for me. Now this is the command to install Grafana. So Helm chart or Helm install Grafana, and Grafana /Grafana is the official chart that we want to install. Alright, now you'll find few things out here, and it also gives you what exactly should be. I mean, it creates a dashboard, and there's a default username that is created, which is admin. That is what you see here, and a password is there, which is put in the config map or in a secret. How to debug that or how to decipher that is also given here. So let me quickly copy that and paste it so that I will get the password. Now this is the password for my Grafana page, which is going to come up shortly, or it's on its way. So let me just safely copy the password somewhere. Okay, the username is admin and this is the password. Alright, so now get svc. Not so worried about svc, I'm worried about pod. Okay, so now you would find the Grafana pod that is up and running. Get deploy. You will also find the Grafana Debug, which is up and running and everything looks good. But as usual, these would be the internal or a cluster port that is available for me, so I don't want that. So let me just go ahead and run this command and create a service for Grafana as well, which will give me a very nice node port, which again is accessible from the outside port. So I'll just go ahead and type in this. So now I have this Grafana SVC which is exposed. Now if I do MiniCube service, and paste this. Okay, now 3199. Now this is the port on which my Grafana dashboard is installed or is available. So let me open up a browser and try to hit the IP address of my machine followed by this particular URL. So opening up a browser, so let me open up my browser. This is where my Prometheus is up and running. I would want the IP address of my machine, which is this, followed by 31999. 31999. Alright, that was fast. So admin was the username and the password is this one I copied. Alright, simple as that. Now we have our default Grafana. Grafana is not plugged into anything as of now. So this is the default Grafana homepage that you would find. We have a Grafana dashboard now. All that we got to do now is link our Grafana dashboard to the Prometheus data collector. So create configuration. Yeah, first let me just go and change the configuration data sources. I will add a new data source and I would say Prometheus. Now the name of that is Prometheus is good, but what is the URL of your Prometheus? That is what it is asking for. So this is the URL of my Prometheus. So I'm going to give this as the URL for my Prometheus data source. And that's all. I would say save and test. Alright, so looks like everything is good. Data source is working. Alright, now let me go ahead and import a dashboard. Import via grafana.com. There are various dashboards that is available. So let me just go and import one of these dashboards, which is a pretty nice dashboard. So I'll just say go ahead and load this. Okay, so this is published by so and so. If you look at what is actually there in the dashboard, so this is an available dashboard which is already, somebody's published it. So all that we're asking Grafana is to go ahead and pull this dashboard template. Say import. Data source. Data source is our Prometheus server that we already linked. Alright, there you go. All the pods that is running, how many pods are running here, what is the capacity, CPU usage, memory usage, disk usage, everything in a very, very nice, how many replicas are there, deployments are there, how many pods are running, all the information, how many cores are requested by the containers, what is the total memory that is used by content, a complete analytics of whatever is running on your Kubernetes cluster at your fingertips. Putting up a simple monitoring solution for my Kubernetes cluster was as simple as that, using Prometheus and Grafana. And as usual, I am leaving all the instructions that I followed for this demo in the comment section of this video. And in case you run into any issues, please leave a message and I'll try to address it as soon as I can. Thanks a lot for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you found this video informative. Thanks for your time, and you guys have a great day.